It's not a patriot who flies cheap nylon flags made in China at half-mast across the borough. Patriots are the people who wake up early every Saturday morning to litter pick in the local park, who are baking cakes to sell to raise money for their church roof.
We're still on live. What do you think of that meeting? I think it was a load of...
The only thing that was missing was Lenny Henry, because he would have finished it off, because it was a load of absolute... It was just a show to keep the good people of Dudley, right, happy that we're doing something. They're doing nothing, right? They're so out of touch with the public, it's ridiculous. And they said, a real patriot, instead of waving the flags, this is what the Liberal Democrats said, instead of waving the flags, why they go and picking litter up in the streets? That's a real patriot.
Yeah.
What planet are these morons on?
Under the provision of the petition scheme, a petition for debate has been received containing over 3,000 signatures.
Okay, thank you. So the wording of the petition itself, as has been advertised on the council's website for a few weeks now, states as follows. Dudley Borough residents are deeply concerned about the effects that the increased presence of illegal immigrants stroke asylum seekers is having within the Metropolitan Borough of Dudley. We, the undersigned, note the recent High Court decision on the Bell Hotel in Epping, Essex, and call on Dudley Metropolitan Borough Council to reject the relocation of illegal migrants asylum seekers by the Home Office to any hotels within our borough.
But the brass neck, Marco, of you, of all people, to bring this petition here tonight is staggering, because it was you, your government, that broke the asylum system in the first place. It was you and your government who introduced asylum hotels. In fact, Marco, you're the only person in this chamber tonight who could have done something about it when this disastrous policy was introduced. It was you and your government that broke the system, and now you're trying to build a campaign out of the rubble. You are not on the side of the people on Dudley, you're on your own side.
I move and I submit to you, Mr. Mayor, that the people who do the most harm in our society arrive by private jet, not small boat. After our last council meeting, officers of this council were harassed while carrying out their duties. And it is now necessary to hire a private security firm to protect people who work in this building.
RBR, Ryan Brooks reports on YouTube. RBR, yeah, have a quick look. We do all the, hotels, the HMOs, the council meetings, immigrants, migrants, refugees, all that sort of stuff. But of course we get accused of being far-right racists, and that's what you guys are here, isn't it? But we'll try and correct that. Pat's come out, haven't you? Shook our hand, he's a local lad. And if I have got a vote for anybody, wink wink, you know what I'm saying. But anyway, Pat, I'm going to have to get this dead close. I'm sorry to do that, but it's so they can hear you.
Petition we don't agree with.
Yes.
We are already doing, as you know.
As I know.
And if you look at the tale of three towns, Wolverhampton and Stanwell Dudley, we have 51 in the one hotel. They have 300 in Stanwell, 300 in Wolverhampton in hotels, and that is wrong. That's why protests like this keeps applying the pressure.
We're to cut off. Right, we're coming in now. We'll leave these in the foyer. That's fine. Yeah, that's coming in now. Yeah. If it's a public space, obviously there's a meeting upstairs. Yeah. You'll all sign in. You'll get a pass. Yeah. Obviously, no plan for meetings.
What's the crack with filming? Because I'm on a live stream for YouTube. I didn't ask Pat actually.
That's fine. You know, it's a public space. You'll have to film. You know, please respect the venue. When it comes to staff, we don't really want you to film and loiter. You know, we're not letting anyone stand in the foyer, so it's a quick process through. We've got to turn the windows down. Yes, be orderly and be safe. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So there we go, guys. You're just going in. I'm going to try and reset and stabilise and then we'll... There is a...
So 5 at a time, please.
5 at a time, okay. We've got 1, 2...
Yeah, so we'll have to leave your drink. 2, 3...
Let's do well. Thank you very much, sir. Do I get a lanyard or...?
Sadly not, no.
We've put it, we've got it signed.
Signed in?
So we have Ryan Brooks.
Signed in, sir. Great. So, you leave the building and you haven't got car should not come back into the building.
Look at this, guys. That was a bit of history, isn't it, Ian? That's a good thing.
Thank you very much.
Can I just remind members in the gallery, you're very welcome, but no recording, please.
We did ask in the way in, sir, and the security and a member of your own staff said it would be okay.
Oh, they are. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, no, you are allowed. I've just been informed you are allowed. Okay, no problem. Sorry? So, yeah, that's fine. If you could just make sure that all of your phones are on silent and as quiet as you can, please. We're glad to have you here, but please don't shout out anything at all. Under the provision of the petition scheme, a petition for debate has been received containing over 3,000 signatures. Can I clarify that there is a maximum of 30 minutes allowed for this debate? No formal motions will be moved or votes taken during this debate. There is no right of reply at the end of the petition. Organiser. Can I now welcome Marco Longhi to the meeting?
Mr. Mayor, may I ask a question on procedure before I deliver my 3-minute speech, please? In other councils, the petitioner actually reads out the petition itself in advance of the 3-minute speech. Would that be practice here as well, or shall I just go into the speech? Right, okay, thank you. As long as it's not in my 3 minutes. Okay, thank you. So the wording of the petition itself, as has been advertised on the council's website for a few weeks now, states as follows. Dudley Borough residents are deeply concerned about the effects that the increased presence of illegal immigrants stroke asylum seekers is having within the Metropolitan Borough of Dudley. We, the undersigned, note the recent High Court decision on the Bell Hotel in Epping, Essex, and call on Dudley Metropolitan Borough Council to reject the relocation of illegal migrants asylum seekers by the Home Office to any hotels within our borough. We call on Dudley Metropolitan Borough Council to closely examine the High Court ruling on the Bell Hotel and to seek similar injunctions on any hotels within the Metropolitan Borough of Dudley which are currently being used as hostels for illegal migrants stroke asylum seekers, to action the removal of migrant stroke asylum seekers from these premises, and to ensure that in future all hotels in our borough remain open to the general public. We further call on Dudley Metropolitan Borough Council to examine if sufficient weighting is given to the fear of crime aspects with the dispersal of illegal migrants asylum seekers in the community via HMO housing. The fear of crime is a material planning consideration, and given the documented higher incidence of crime associated with the housing of said individuals, we request the council undertake an immediate planning review into its policy for granting HMO status to applications it receives. That is the wording of the petition. If I may now start on the 3-minute speech. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for inviting me to speak this evening. I speak today on behalf of more than 3,200 Dudley residents who signed my petition because they believe their voices are being ignored. These residents, Mr. Mayor, are not extremists. They are not agitators. They are ordinary, decent people who love this borough and who want to feel safe in their own communities. They are deeply concerned about the unchecked spread of unauthorised HMOs and the quiet repurposing of different buildings for asylum accommodation without proper planning consent or consultation. This is not about hostility, it's about fairness, it's about safety, and it's about accountability. An Article 4 direction requires that smaller HMOs have planning permission. That's a good policy, and Dudley has it. But policy without enforcement is meaningless. We need action that residents can see. So I would ask the council to do the following. Publish a list of all HMOs, quarterly enforcement data reports so the public can see what the council is doing, what action is taken, and within identified timeframes. In considering applications, I ask that the council to give fuller weight to the fear of crime as a legitimate material planning consideration, and to seek further specialist legal advice so that the council is ready to apply for and defend injunctions if it needed to, just as Epping Forest successfully did under the Bell Hotel ruling. Recent events in nearby Walsall, where the tragic murder of Rhiannon White has been linked in press reports to an individual seeking asylum, have understandably heightened local anxieties. Of course, due legal process must take its course, but such cases underline why residents are right to demand that planning control and public safety go hand in hand. It also reinforces why greater weighting should be given to the fear of crime. I do want to place on record my respect for the council's planning officers and enforcement team. I know many of them want to do more, but that they face mounting workloads and limited resources. The answer lies not in criticism of staff, but in political leadership and resources from elected members. If this council, quite unlike this government, truly puts Dudley people first, then let's show it by backing our officers, enforcing our policies, and protecting the integrity of our communities. Mr. Mayor, I commend this petition to the council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Longhi. You managed to finish 8 minutes before your 3 minutes was up. Thank you. The matter is now open for debate. Members of the council.
Councillor Harley.
Councillor Hawley.
To be first. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I thank Mr. Longhi for his petition and for giving me the opportunity to state what we've done whilst we've been in charge of this authority. And what we've done over the last few years, Mr. Mayor, is to ensure that Dudley has the lowest numbers of asylum seekers anywhere in the West Midlands. He doesn't have to come here, though, and criticise political leadership. For me, or any other Conservative politician on this side of the chamber. You know, some of us went out and got Marco elected as the Dudley North MP. Some of us went out again and tried to get him re-elected. So, you know, we're all friends on this side of the chamber, wherever Marco is. Sorry. Now, the petition calls for the council to reject the relocation of illegal migrants or asylum seekers by the Home Office and Serco to any hotels within our borough. And I have to say, Mr. Mayor, we are already doing that. Dudley, for all my time in this position, has had one hotel occupied by Serco. For me, that's one too many, but one it is. Now, Dudley has, from the last data available to myself, has 669 asylum seekers, of which 51 are in the one hotel. As leader, I've held to account both Serco and the Home Office under different governments. I cannot recall, though, Marco, as the MP, ever calling out Conservative Home Secretaries for the shocking way Serco operates and treats councils with contempt, and they do treat us with contempt. He never once criticised the last government he was part of, although he's happy to do that now. If you really care, you show that when you criticise your own side at the same time, not when you've slipped off to join another party. Actions speak louder than words. And unfortunately, I'll class Marco as a friend, he was silent when it came to holding Conservative Home Secretaries to account. He kept quiet and copped a nice job as a trade envoy to Brazil. Mr. Mayor, I've instructed our legal team to investigate how we legally prevent issues such as those at Epping. This isn't a Johnny-come-lately policy either. Several years ago, under a former chief executive, I instructed him to write to every single hotel in the borough, warning of the legal challenge they would face if they agreed a contract with Serco. All but the one that we know about agreed and didn't. I will not hesitate as leader of this authority to use every single tool at our disposal to maintain that our hotels are not commandeered by Serco and the Home Office. However, if the government are serious about emptying all hotels, then we must be on our guard. And as the petition rightly points out, the ending of hotels provides another issue, and that is far more serious issue for me is the use of HMOs. In hotels, we know where the government is placing asylum seekers. If they spread out to HMOs, it gets a lot more difficult. Therefore, the Planning Committee will hear and consider every single application for any new HMO under my leadership. We have ensured through tough action that Serco and the Home Office don't use Dudley the way they do Sandwell and Wolverhampton, where over 600 asylum seekers are kept in hotels across those two boroughs, compared to Dudley's 51. So we must be on our guard and take the same tough stance on the use of HMOs as we have on hotels. Mr Mayor, I don't have an issue with agreeing with the sentiment and the contents of the petition, but in all honesty, we, this side of the chamber, as a traditional Conservative-run administration, are already doing what is being asked, and we will continue to hold the Government, Home Office and Serco to account to ensure Dudley doesn't face the same issues as our Black Country neighbours. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. It's a very short contribution from me, just to confirm, as it was stated that Dudley does not have an Article 4 direction in place by the petitioner. Dudley does have an Article 4 direction in place that was introduced and made confirmed in September 2023. So that is something that's already in place. Every single HMO that is applied for does go to the Planning Committee. So I believe the petitioner is trying to say that he didn't say that we don't have that. Oh, in that case, please accept my apology. I misheard you. I thought you said that we do not, and it was a policy we should have. But we have already done that, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Let me be clear. It is entirely reasonable and absolutely legitimate for people to be concerned about levels of migration into this country. And it is equally fair to raise questions about how the Home Office is handling the situation, particularly the use of hotel accommodation for people seeking asylum. These are not extreme views. These are concerns shared by people across all walks of life because they touch on our values, our resources, and our sense of fairness. But let me be clear. The answer to these concerns is not to scapegoat people. The answer is to fix what is broken. What we need and what we should all demand is a strong, fair and efficient immigration and asylum system. A system that processes claims quickly and fairly, offers sanctuary and compassion to those fleeing war, persecution or torture, and just as importantly, removes and repatriates those whose claims are not upheld and who have no right to remain in the UK. When the system works, there is no need for hotels, there is no need for temporary HMOs in residential areas, and there is no need for communities to feel like they've been left in the dark. So here are the facts. When the government took office 16 months ago, it inherited 224,742 cases in the asylum system, over 224,000 cases. That included an asylum backlog of 85,839 cases affecting over 119,000 people. That backlog didn't appear out of nowhere. It was the result of years of failure to maintain a functioning immigration and asylum system. And yes, that includes former MPs like Mr Longhi who was part of that government. They allowed delays to spiral out of control. They left people in limbo, unable to work, unable to move forward, stuck in hotels for months and even years. And they left communities without the funding, the information or the infrastructure to cope with the consequences. Mr. Mayor, every delayed asylum decision is a cost to the taxpayer, and every delay creates anxiety for people who may have suffered trauma and adds pressure on local services. The Labour government has processed tens of thousands of older claims and are on track to eliminate them entirely. They have ramped up the recruitment of asylum caseworkers, and they're committed to ending the use of hotels completely by the end of this Parliament, and their success will be judged at the ballot box. This is not about being tough or soft on immigration. This is about being competent, fair and efficient. Mr. Mayor, truth is not just a virtue, it is a responsibility. Words which are shared faster than facts and opinions dressed up as evidence serve only to sow division within our communities, and I hope that no one in this room wants that. I'm sure Mr. Longhi will join me in condemning anyone spreading misinformation on this issue. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I now call on Councillor Peatlow.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. My contribution will be relatively brief. I find myself in part accepting and noting both the contribution of the Leader of the Council and the Leader of the Opposition. And part of my contribution was I wish some of the national figures actually use the language and the tone that you have used in this council chamber, because I think it would go a long way to talking about this matter responsibly. Mr. Mayor, we raised concerns as a Black Country Party as way back as March of this year and implored the council to have an open discussion about the issue, because if we were not to have that, then we run the risk of allowing those political parts of our spectrum that we do not wish to have within Dudley trying to take ownership of that. Councillor Aston and indeed Councillor Harley are absolutely correct when we look at the facts of this matter. This is not an issue of October 2025. It's not an issue of June 2024. It's an issue that we can evidence and trace back to when Marco Longhi was a Conservative Member of Parliament. The reality of what we have really good intended people signing a petition for political ends. And that, Mr. Mayor, is where I think we have a number of concerns. Now, I'll be quite clear. My own personal political views are markedly different to those of Marco Longhi. I believe our country is a tolerant country. I believe it involves and includes people of many faiths and no faith at all. The Britain that I proudly defend looks at what we can look at, how we unite those communities, how we work in those difficult positions to overcome those obstacles. And I know, because I spoke to a number of people who signed this petition, believe exactly the same thing. Now, the second part of the petition talks about HMOs. And I think it's important, Mr. Mayor, that we don't take that in isolation. Because yes, whilst of course houses of multiple occupancy can cause its own community tensions, they don't do that in isolation. Austerity, the fact that we don't have decent housing, all have a significant impact upon the concerns of our communities. Now, Mr. Mayor, I hope my crystal ball is wrong. But what I can envisage is between now and the May 2026 elections, as people attempt to put themselves forward, maybe even see themselves as Dudley residents, in order to seek the support of the ballot box, we will see more of these instances coming forward. So I'll be very clear, Mr. Mayor. We recognise and we admit many of the issues raised within here, but we also see that vibrant Dudley that all people in this chamber are seeking to encourage, one that looks to what unites our communities, not divides our communities. A Dudley that is tolerant, that recognises and will discuss those challenges we have. That is a Dudley that I recognise, and that is a Dudley that I am proud to be part of. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Lowe. I now call on Councillor Andrew Tromans.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We note Mr. Longhi has braved the dangerous crossing from Walsall to tonight to present his petition, and we applaud his strenuous efforts. On his journey, he moved from a borough which houses more asylum seekers than the borough we now stand in, according to figures published by the Home Office on the 21st of August. Drawing on that same data set, asylum seekers represent 0.2% of the population in Dudley, and as the petition mover will know as a former MP, most of them have no recourse to public funds. Within that 0%, in that smaller minority of the population who are asylum seekers, are Afghan citizens who served alongside our armed forces in Helmand, and they were offered safe passage to this country in 2021. Speaking to the wording of his petition, which calls for injunctions against hotels that are being used as hostels for illegal immigrants, there is only one facility in this borough which is used for that purpose, as Councillor Harley alluded to in his remarks. However, what we do have is a number of hotels which are being used to house homeless families from the UK. These families are drawn from neighbouring Black Country authorities and London boroughs. That is the shameful legacy of the previous Conservative government he served in. Mr. Longhi, your petition speaks to deep-seated grievances within our community, which you knowingly exploit. People are angry, and rightly so. Real wages in the UK have stagnated since 2008. A weekly shop for a family of three averages at £95, and that's just the basics. We've had 15 years and counting of austerity, which have left our public services on their knees. And meanwhile, our waiting list for social housing in this borough hovers at around 5,000. In the last with all of this happening, in the last 30 years, the British taxpayer has paid £200 billion to shareholders who have a stake in key British industries which were privatised in the 1990s, including water and Royal Mail. The 50 wealthiest families in this country hold more wealth than the poorest 50%. I move and I submit to you, Mr. Mayor, that the people who do the most harm in our society arrive by private jet, not small boat. All of us in public life have a duty to promote community cohesion using reasoned and robust debate instead of peddling fear and division. In the summer of 2024, this borough was spared the violent disorders that other areas endured. After our last council meeting, officers of this council were harassed while carrying out their duties. And it is now necessary to hire a private security firm to protect people who work in this building. I urge you to reflect on your actions and play your part in reducing community tensions in our borough, Mr. Longhi. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I now call on Councillor Ryan Priest.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Marco, first let me start by saying I agree with the principle and the problem that you've raised, that the asylum system in this country is broken. Anybody with sense can see that the backlog is spiralling out of control, with no safe and legal route into the country, forcing asylum seekers into small boats and across the Channel. And then when they get here, applications routinely take years to process. The government's response has been to house asylum seekers in hotels, an awful policy that's driving tension in our communities, devastating tourist economies, and fundamentally is a pretty poor place for families and children to live. But the brass neck, Marco, of you, of all people, to bring this petition here tonight is staggering, because it was you, your government, that broke the asylum system in the first place. It was you and your government who introduced asylum hotels. In fact, Marco, you're the only person in this chamber tonight who could have done something about it when this disastrous policy was introduced. It was you and your government that broke the system, and now you're trying to build a campaign out of the rubble. You are not on the side of the people on Dudley, you're on your own side. You know full well the division that you stir, and I suspect you do it with intention. There's no community you wouldn't tear apart if it meant a whiff of the halls of Westminster once again. And you know full well that this council has next to no power to affect asylum policy, because that's how your government designed it. You and your party, and your previous party too, use the language of patriotism to spread misinformation. But it's not a patriot who seeks to divide our country and our borough for their own gain. It's not a patriot who flies cheap nylon flags made in China at half-mast across the borough. Patriots are the people who wake up early every Saturday morning to litter pick in the local park, who are baking cakes to sell to raise money for their church roof. Patriots are the people who recognise that things aren't great right now, that the asylum system included in that is something that is broken, and that things are difficult. But the history of our country is that there is always light at the end of the tunnel, and we reach it by coming together and building community and getting stuck in to fix what's broken. For politicians, that means fixing the asylum system and sorting out the mess that the previous government made. Excuse me. That means more caseworkers to fix the backlog. That means getting tough on the gangs that are profiting from this. But the reality is that local government does not have the tools to fix this problem, Marco. You are here for your own gain. It is the government, the previous government and the current government, that need to fix this problem. And you can shake your head, Marco, but you are taking for the people in the gallery tonight for a ride, for your own gain. I echo the comments of Councillor Tromans and urge on you to reflect on that.
Excuse me, can we have silence in the public gallery, please? You have been warned, please be quiet.
Ryan's finished.
Okay, can we now have Sean Kesey, please?
Oh, I heard the big intake of breath then. Don't worry, it's not going to be that bad. Thank you to Councillor Harley, and thank you to Councillor Ashton. I think everything that you said tonight was genuine. I think it came from what you believe. None of it was personal, and that's the way it should be. Then we get to the Liberal Democrats gaslighting. My goodness me, you blame Marco for the actions of people that are sitting in the gallery and for the 3,200 people that signed his petition. They're not puppets, they're people with genuine concerns, and to write them off the way you just have, I think is absolutely shameful. Just to Councillor Harley very quickly, and I'm sure I'd be doing the same if I was still a Conservative, but as far as I'm aware, Marco's job in Brazil wasn't cushy, it wasn't paid. It was just part of his role as a trade ambassador. I don't believe there was any financial gain at all. Prove me wrong and I will happily apologise. I also think, from my viewing of BBC Parliament on many occasions, that I have seen Marco trying to take on the leadership of, as it was then, the Conservative Party, to express his reservations about what was going on with immigration. Again, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I've seen it. I'd got much more written down here, but I've had to cross quite a lot out, simply because Councillor Harley and Councillor Ashton said what I think they genuinely believe. But let's be honest, the people of Dudley didn't create this crisis. Conservative, and specifically the Blair Labour government, did. They opened the borders, they lost control of asylum and enforcement, and they left local councils to pick up the pieces. And now, when residents express real fear, frustration and hopelessness, the response from certain people is ridicule. But ask yourself, do you really think people would be this upset, this angry, if they were living comfortably? If they weren't worrying about how to heat their homes or put food on the table, or whether their children will ever own a house? Of course not. People are angry because they've been driven into hopelessness by the very same failed policies that both establishment parties have championed. You've broken Britain, you've broken hope, and now you try to shame anyone who dares to say so. This debate isn't about hope, it's about accountability. It's about asking why our own residents believe they are being pushed aside while millions are spent housing people who came here illegally. It's about fairness, decency, and standing up for those who feel forgotten. Let's tackle these issues that have made this petition necessary in the first place and show the people of Dudley that their voices still matter. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. If there are no further speakers, that completes the debate on this petition. The petition will be referred to the relevant directors for any further response.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
You want to say if they want to leave the gallery? Give them the opportunity to leave and stay.
Okay, yeah. The gallery have now got the opportunity to leave, or you can stay.
I wanted to speak on the item on page 32 of the full agenda. At the last council meeting, we approved the variation of capital fund, and that will work on
There you go, guys. We are coming out the public gallery, Dudley, I was going to say court, Dudley County Court, it feels like I should be saying. But yeah, I wasn't able to see the chat, guys. I was trying to watch the live, listen to them, and also get you some footage on the body cam, drop a microphone. So we had the DJI. Yeah, we're inside the council building. Oh, it does sound like something's going off down here, so I'm going to go and catch the guys up from Black Country Stop the Boats. But it did get a bit passionate, well, I wouldn't say passionate, but heated, because, you know, you heard what they said, those turnips, those Liberal Democrat turnips. I'm not going to be rude on here or swear, but here we go.
Thank you. I wanted to come across this.
Sorry, mate, you're right. This guys. Okay, wait, something. So I'm waiting to have a quick chat with Marco in the quiet inside. It does sound. Are they having a bit of a shout outside, are they, fella? I won't get you on. Are they having a bit of a shout outside, are they? Yeah.
At the time, I said, what's the point of British people coming into the country when they've come back from holiday, showing their passports, having to queue for an hour, and no one else does? They might as well just...
Everybody that come across was asylum seeker, not illegal immigrants. That's what we're against. Not asylum seekers. You can differentiate the two. Yes. Did you get your second place?
Sorry about it, guys, back with you. I've just go to, get my words out, I've just had to go to the car and get the charger. Phone dropped off to 1%, the live froze. We just sat in the car around the corner having a smoke, a cigarette, a roll up, whatever you want to call it. Look at that, free advertising. Mr. Truth Hurts 101 UK. Big respect, Truth Hurts. Some of the guys are going home. It's quite late now, it's 9:15. They've come straight from work, a lot of these guys. But there they are. So we're going to stay in the vehicle for 1 second. We're live, how you doing? You all right? I've had to sit in my car, mate, because I haven't got my battery pack and it's on 1%. This is Chris, one of the main guys of Black Country Stop the Boats, along with Matt Bennett, who couldn't be here tonight because he's got the flu. But me and Chris here, we had a sit-down meeting about a month ago now with Patrick Hawley. We've also served him with a freedom of information request, asking him to legally define what immigrants, migrants, refugees and asylum seekers are. We've asked him about how many HMOs are in the area, how many HMO applications are in the area, how many migrant hotels are in the area, and so on and so forth, and a load of other things. But we've just been in, Chris and myself, into the full meeting where Marco Longhi has served a petition with, was it 3,500, Chris? So, I mean, we just thought that the whole meeting really was a load of nonsense, didn't we? I think Patrick was okay, and I think Marco was okay, but I think the others were clowns, quite frankly.
But these lot in here are only looking at us talking about migration and that.
Yes.
But it's not just that though, is it?
No.
It's that our Labour government are punishing our pensioners by taking all their winter heating off them and reducing their money, and now they're targeting disabled people,
yeah,
which is unfair. Why are our disabled and pensioners being targeted and our veterans being placed on the street? It's like that cheeky little prick in there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine, bro.
He's turned around and said patriots go out picking litter up and that.
Mm.
Well, patriots like myself, a British-born person, sleep on the street for
Yes.
a homeless person,
Yes.
and I do it every year. And that ain't right.
Whoever he was, I don't know who he was. He was a Liberal Democrat guy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He had the audacity and the cheek. His opener was something like the far right with their £1 flags from China, making our area look cheap and tatty. That's what he said. That's in the chamber meeting. I couldn't get him on the live because of the position I was in, but I'll find out who he is and we'll
Our
have a look into it.
And our disabled people, and people with serious illnesses.
Mm.
I know many of people with like dementia and stuff like that. Like they're getting targeted by this Labour government, and it's unfair.
Yeah. You've got the new service charges for the tenants in the council houses as well, for cleaning and lighting and stuff like this. You've got the increases in the council tax. But yeah, man, let's see if we can get... give Gary a quick shout. Let's see if we can give... Gary's going to come and say a couple of words from the car. Nice one, Gaz. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. We are outside the Dudley Council house still.
Because they want a fingerprinter at school.
What's that, bro?
They want a fingerprinter at school.
Oh, really?
Part of this new thing they're doing. So what I've actually said is, why don't you set up your own protest, all the kids together?
Yeah.
Take flags and everything else. They can't do anything. Because you might get some time off school, so that.
They want to put in Wolverhampton. They want to use digital dinner money, biometrics.
I think she's only about 13, 14. And
Wow. My money is just about to go, so Gary's coming to come have a chat with us in a second. But bear with us, guys, because we are sat in the car so we can charge the phone, and we're waiting for the councillors to come out. We're waiting for Marco. We're waiting for Pat maybe again. But fair play to Patrick. He's come and had a word with us. You off, lad? Yeah, nice one.
Yeah,
Cheers, brother. Oh, mate, I know. Do you want to say anything? We're still on live here. I've had to charge the phone, so... But basically, you said, what a load of rollicks. Yeah.
Council meeting was a load of bollocks. How dare they talk a lot of fucking crap, looking at wankers.
Did you hear what he said, bro? The Lib Dem about us far right with our £1 flags from China.
Yeah, and that was what he said. It was all planned. Every word was planned, every word. What am I going to say?
I've just heard from one of the guys. Do you want to go on because we're live? No. So I've just heard this young lady here, something to do with your school.
So apparently, so you know how we have to have a fingerprint,
Right.
and apparently they have to ask mum and dad for consent.
So this young lady, did you mind me asking how old you are?
14.
So she's 14, that's why we're not putting her on, but they have to have a fingerprint. Is that for like dinner money and stuff like that, or is it just in general? Nice one. Chris is just off.
For lunch, and then apparently it's illegal for...
Gary, have you had a word with this lady? Because Gary knows quite a lot about... You have?
What's that?
This young lady, I'm not putting her on because of her age, but 14 years old, and they want to take fingerprints and things like this.
At the moment, they'll be able to do it long term. what the situation is. They're creeping it in, they're telling nobody. My grandson, I saw his fingerprint taken for his dinner. That is illegal. Under that law, which is the Freedom Act 2012.
Freedom of Information Act.
Not a Freedom of Information Act.
There's another one.
Else.
Okay.
It's been brought out in 2012.
I stand corrected.
They cannot do anything to your children. They can't teach them in trans ideology, they can't teach them in gay, lesbian ideology, or any political ideologies. They cannot do anything to your children without explicit written consent.
From the parents.
Not an email, not a phone call, a letter.
Yeah.
Explicit consent. If they're doing it and they haven't told your teacher, to me, and a lot of like-minded people, that is child abuse.
Absolutely, yeah.
Child abuse. They're abusing this chap's daughter.
Yeah.
Right? And these clowns in here, I might as well bump Lenny Henry with me because that's a comedy show.
Yeah. We'll come and have a chat with you in a minute, but just while we're with this young lady, what about things like... No, you're okay, Gary. We'll carry on, Gary. What about things like pronouns? Have you ever been asked by, like, teachers and stuff about anything? Not yet, she says. Yeah, not yet. Very wise.
Yeah. A bit of advice to you as a young person, because I fight for your rights, okay? Don't believe anything anybody tells you. Question everything. Why? What's this do? Why?
Don't do that. You'll get expelled like me. I used to ask the teachers, why, miss? Why, sir? Why, miss? Why, sir? Detention. You know what I mean?
My teachers say to me, good question. You've got the right as a human being to know why. Question everything.
It's like when you said, yes, a little bit,
Yeah, so do you know what they did with that down south? They put a litter tray in the hallway so she could have a wee.
Oh, they do?
Wow. Yeah.
Down, I think it was round about, somewhere down south, like London and stuff, or somewhere like that. How ridiculous is that?
I've always found it amazing that you have to ask to go to the toilet, you know, when you're in school. See, say no to digital ID. Yeah, we'll wrap this one up now, guys, from Dudley, because people have gone off to get drinks. It's cold, it's wet. And we'll bring you a video update on it later. I've got some body-worn footage with some video and some microphone audio from behind the scenes as well with Patrick. We're just waiting for Marco to come out. He said he'd be out just after 7:30. But he's probably been told not to speak to us, maybe. Well, I don't know, I shouldn't say that. He maybe have been told not to speak to us by the Reform Party, who knows. But we hear he supports the things we do, so big up Marco. Also big up Patrick. Big respect Patrick Hardy for coming out once again and having a chat with us, shaking our hands. Yeah, and let's hope we can have another little meeting with you soon, Pat. And maybe with Marco. Why not us all have a meeting? Me, Marco, you, Pat. Could get Susan in as well, Susan Webb. I can terrorise her about the 5G phone mast that she used to be responsible for. No, I'm just kidding. I don't even know whether Susan Webb was even involved in that, you know. But yeah, for those that are wondering what I'm waffling on about, there's a 5G phone mast, an alleged 5G phone mast, that's been running on diesel generator for about 3.5 years on Kiddies Park in Woollerscote, Stourbridge. Anyway, Gary, we're still on live. What do you think of that meeting? I think it was a load of...
The only thing that was missing was Lenny Henry, because he would have finished it off, because it was a load of absolute... It was just a show to keep the good people of Dudley, right, happy that we're doing something. They're doing nothing, right? They're so out of touch with the public, it's ridiculous. And they said, a real patriot, instead of waving the flags, this is what the Liberal Democrats said, instead of waving the flags, why do they go and picking litter up in the streets? That's a real patriot.
Yeah.
What planet are these morons on?
He also called
They're
us...
still not listening to the people.
He also called us something along the lines of far-right extremists that think it's patriotic to wave a £1 flag made in China.
Yeah. The Reform guy stood up and he had a round of applause.
He did, yeah.
Because what he said was right. My fear is, when Reform get in, I think they'll fall in the same trap as the others did, because a lot of them are ex-Conservatives. They're the ones who started this rot. So what they can say when they ain't in power is one thing. What they do when they get in power is another thing. And if Reform screw up, I fear for the country, there'll be civil war. If Reforms screw up, We all know they're going to get in, but we need a really strong opposition to hold them to account. We need a strong opposition. That little girl just told me she's being biometrically traced now.
Yeah.
Her dad didn't even know. And these people are saying, oh, we're transparent, we tell everybody. Wolverhampton councillor said to me, in a text I've got off him on Facebook, he openly admitted it's going to be track and trace on your kids. And when this new law comes in, the Children and Schools Welfare Act, they've got the right to quarantine your children, and you can't get them out of the school.
And I think, Gary, that's why they're.
I
think, Gary, that's why they're putting a lot of extra security up around schools, fencing and gates and barriers. In Wolverhampton, in the city centre, as you were telling me the other day, it's a smart city. It's a C40 city. It's a 15-minute city. It's got bollards. It's got barriers. It's got pop-up bollards, guys, that light up and flash and bleep and do all sorts of magic tricks. You simply cannot drive through Wolverhampton. The shops have gone. We used to have James Beattie's, a big, lovely department shop.
It was great, it was great. I was proud to be from Wolverhampton. The shops you had are fabulous. But saying that about your city and rest, you're dead right. And people are just going about their life, ignoring it. Don't come back to me in 5 years, frigging time, and say, oh, you was right, Gary, you was right. When you ain't got your kids, you can't move out your house. You can't, you go to the supermarket and you go, bip, you've had too much potatoes this week, you know, you've overstepped your carbon, whatever it is, right? These people are living in clay cuckoo land, they don't know what they're talking about. Wolverhampton people, thank God, lads and lasses, you're waking up now. The rally we had, protest we had in Wolverhampton was great. I want even more there next time. And something's starting to happen now. The left is starting to talk to us, and we're finding mutual ground. Yeah. And we'll talk the little differences, out after. I had a good conversation, long conversation with a left supporter, they are definitely sponsored by the unions and paid for by the unions. He admitted it, right? So I knew that all along, but there's no proof. And I said to him, and he agreed, I said, if we can find a common ground to come together on, it'll put the fear of God in the government, because they want us to be separated. They want to divide and conquer. If we come together, they won't be able to divide and conquer.
Yeah.
So that will send a message to Starmer and any Conservative, any Reform, anybody. That will send a message to him that we've got your fucking number, and you'll be out.
I mean, that's where there's a
Right.
What am I going to say?
How you doing?
Vote Reform next May, I'll be standing.
Vote for all you like, just to get these out there.
Vote for Reform, next day they'll be standing. Well done.
Fair play.
There you go, guys.
That lady sat next to me in the.
I thought she was an undercover reporter.
I did.
And they,
But
and
what
they had
she
the
said,
things, and they had all what's going on.
what she said about vote for Reform next year, vote for who you like.
Yeah.
We've got a common ground to get our country back. Then vote for who you like.
Yeah.
But if you want to give a political board,
What did you think, Gary? Of,
vote advance.
What did you think of Marco Longhi's speech or his little thing?
Mixed feelings. Some of what he said was right, some of it. Isn't that what politicians do?
Yeah.
They give you a little bit of truth and a lot of lies.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
I think he's very smooth the way he delivers his.
Very good at what he does.
Very good.
He's a smooth operator.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I've got to remember it. I remember how the Conservatives have brought this country down to its knees, right? The worst culprit of all was Tony Blair. That man should have an international arrest warrant put out for him. My friends died because of him, right? He lied to the country, he lied to the world. And the other one is George W. Bush. Should have an international arrest warrant issued on him.
So Tony Blair, that was Anthony Charles Linton, wasn't it?
The one that got done
Cossaging. Yeah.
Like George Michael did.
Yeah, zip me up before you go.
Well, the thing is, it started with no, I won't say it. The thing is, these guys are extremely clever. When you think you know what they're doing, they move the goalposts and they do something else. All they're after is money, one world government, one world currency, the globalists look after, the elites look after, and the people are just of no significance whatsoever.
And I wonder, Gary, in there, I mean, that's probably, I have been to these kinds of meetings before, But I find it all a bit strange, you know, the fact that they've got these dresses on, these medals on, these bits of gold on.
It's very, very ritualistic.
Yeah.
It's almost like the Masons,
Yeah.
which worries me, because there's an element, a lot of elements of child abuse and
Yes.
sexual abuse within the Masons. They say no, but I know it's a case because a friend of mine was a high-ranking Mason. If you dig too deep, you'll baffle the people. Let's get on with this job we got at hand.
Absolutely.
To get our country back, get rid of the government, and have a truly representative across working class people, middle class people, a truly working class government in place
Yes.
to represent everyone. Everyone. And this has got to happen, right? So if that's far right, I'm far right. If that's far left, I'm far left. I couldn't give a shit. I've watched my country go into decline, and what Labour have done, they've knocked it up a gear because they've got a vast majority and just doing it more quicker than Conservatives did, more quicker than Blur did. Do you remember Blair's song he used to play? Things can only get better.
Yeah, the keyboard player was my favourite actor, Brian No Cox, I call him.
Things can only get
Things
better.
can only get better.
Right, if this is better.
You know the band Brian Cox was in, D-Ream, it's called D-Ream. Dream like dream. I'm sure D-Ream in Latin means to rim a man's backside. So you've got Sir Brian Cox, who, by the way, guys, has never got a degree. Check it out. It's an honorary degree. And he loves to tell you all about his upside down spinning balls and how many billions and billions and billions and billions. Oh, chase me. Stars there are.
I'll tell you
Can't
something
stand Brian
else.
Cox.
The things I found out about people, high-ranking rock stars and the rest of it, what they're putting into these wicked organisations is
Yeah.
frightening,
Yeah.
right? And I've noticed with all this child, even in Wolverhampton Council, one of the people on the City of Sanctuary scheme is a Methodist minister. Okay? Now, the church have kept really quiet, like the NSPCC have, about child abuse, the child abuse inquiry. The reason is, look at this trouble the church have had with sexual abuse accusations. They've got to keep their head down. Do they think we're stupid? We used to be. Thank you, Mr. Starmer. You've woke the country up, and we're after you and your comrades, without a shadow of a doubt.
And we've also got people like Matt Hardy, Gary, that are going after him for the bioweapon, the jibber jabber.
Yeah.
The weapons technology on the lamppost, the LED, the 5G, all that kind of stuff. And I genuinely think they're a bit shook, these guys in here. You know, you've got. I had a leak this afternoon. For those just joining us, we're live. We're with Gary Bennett. We're in Dudley. Well, I had a leak this afternoon. Got speaking to a plumber who was fixing my leak, and he knew about our little meeting here tonight. Now, we only found out that they were having this meeting yesterday, guys. And I just thought, well, if they're having a meeting, why not get a few people up here from the Black Country Stop the Boats? And within a few hours, we've managed to get, how many people would you say came, Gary? About 40 to 50 in the public gallery?
But I tell you now, Ryan, honest to God, the council and the government got the wind up.
Yeah, they have.
All these
They have.
Wolverhampton has got the wind up.